consequences as a man, like stepping out, like gotta take that on the chin. Like that's why when she left, I had to take that on the chin because like I could have been we got so much.
Imagine fumbling the coldest woman in hip-hop, knowing you're the reason it all fell apart, then sitting back watching her level up with an NFL superstar. And just when you think it can't get worse, a dude who just walked out of federal prison jumps in her comments talking about he loves her. Not just any random either. Pooh Shiesty, a man who was just doing time in a federal penitentiary, is suddenly free and boldly shooting his shot at your ex-wife. And somehow, the wildest part is that Offset is still reacting, still bothered, still emotionally locked in over a woman he hasn't been with for years. Let's be honest, Offset got completely outplayed in this situation. He admitted the cheating, admitted the selfishness, admitted he didn't treat her right. He stood in front of the world and held that L. Then Pooh Shiesty steps out, levels up his whole image, comes back with new energy, and suddenly women everywhere are going crazy over him. And the first move he makes? A direct shot at Cardi B. The confidence, the boldness, the sheer disrespect is crazy. But underneath all the memes and jokes, there's a deeper story about ego, loyalty, obsession, and what happens when two strong personalities circle the same woman. Yo, what's good, fam? Welcome back to Informed Soccer. Today, we're unpacking every angle of this situation. And by the time we're done, this whole story is going to hit completely different. Let's get into it. Now, before we really break this down, let me be real with you. This isn't just internet comedy. There are layers here. You've got Offset, still legally tied to Cardi B, stuck in one of the most chaotic divorces hip-hop has seen in years. And then you've got Pooh Shiesty, fresh out after serving nearly 3 years on federal gun and drug charges, stepping into freedom and immediately making a play like he's got zero hesitation. And here's what really says a lot. Offset didn't stay quiet. That reaction alone tells you exactly where his mind is at. But here's where things get even crazier. Pooh Shiesty didn't make a low-key move. He did it loudly, repeatedly, in front of everyone, while Offset could see everything unfold. While Cardi was already pregnant and clearly living a whole new life, Offset still couldn't detach. So let's rewind, because this didn't start when Pooh got released. This story goes back further than that. So boom, the first time Pooh Shiesty made it known he was interested in Cardi B, he was still locked up. Let that sink in. It's 2024. Cardi files for divorce from Offset in July after 7 years, 3 kids, and a long list of cheating issues. Like most celebs, she goes live on Instagram, talking to fans, updating them, casually mentioning she's apartment hunting in New York. Nothing unusual, right? But while she's live, someone running Pooh Shiesty's account, because he's literally incarcerated, drops a comment saying, "I'm 5 minutes away, baby, open the door." Fam, the man is in prison. He's not 5 minutes away from anything, except a guard and a locked gate. But whoever had control of his page made one thing clear. Pooh was interested. Now, do you think Offset saw that? Of course he did, and that was only the beginning. Fast forward to October 6, 2025. Pooh Shiesty gets released early after doing close to 3 years, and in less than a full day of being free, he grabs his phone, logs in, and heads straight to Cardi B's page. She had just posted a teaser for new music, and without hesitation, still fresh out, he drops a comment. 2 simple words, "I love you." That comment instantly blew up. Thousands of likes, hundreds of replies. The internet lost it because everyone saw exactly what was happening. This man came home focused. Forget everything else. His first move was her. But here's where it gets deeper. This wasn't just a one-time comment. This turned into a pattern. This was intentional. Now, to really understand why Pooh Shiesty felt bold enough to go after someone like Cardi B, you have to look at how he came home. Because he didn't come back low-key. He came back upgraded. The buzz was already building before he even stepped outside. His music never stopped circulating. Tracks like Back in Blood were still active in clubs. His name never faded. And the moment he got out, the reaction, especially from women, was intense. His socials exploded instantly. Women flooded his comments. People started talking about his glow-up. His style was sharper. The version of Pooh that went in wasn't the same one that came out. So from his perspective, think about it. He's free, he's trending, he's got attention nationwide, and momentum is fully on his side. So why not aim high? Why not go for the biggest name? From where he stands, he's got nothing to lose. Worst case, she ignores it, which is exactly what happened. And that's what makes this even more interesting. Cardi B has never acknowledged him. Not once. No likes, no replies, no subtle hints, nothing. She's out here living her life, reportedly tied to Stefon Diggs, working on her album Am I the Drama, handling legal wins, and moving forward. Meanwhile, Pooh was in the comments expressing interest like he just came home from doing federal time. Her silence says everything. She's moved on, completely, and Pooh is putting energy into something that's not even being acknowledged. But you know who did pay attention? Offset. And here's the reality about Offset. This is a man who has been openly emotional when it comes to Cardi, and to his credit, he hasn't hidden it. But his actions, they've been loud. This is the same man who, when she filed for divorce the first time back in 2020, went public with an emotional apology, looked straight into the camera, and said everything.
Cardi, you know I embarrassed you. I made you look crazy. Doing things I ain't had no business. I was partaking in activity that I shouldn't have been taking in. And I apologize, you know what I'm saying? Breaking your heart, breaking our promise, breaking God's promise, and being a selfish, messed up husband, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a better person.
He really took his emotions for Cardi and flipped them into content, into moments, into headlines, and still lost her in the end. Then we hit 2024. She files for divorce again, and this time it's final. No circling back, no fixing it, no more chances. And Offset pulls up on the baby this is Keke Palmer with Keke Palmer and starts opening up, admitting,
I made bad decisions as a man, like stepping out, like gotta take that on the chin. Like that's why when she left, I had to take that on the chin, cause like I could have been we got so much our kids to live for. I was being selfish.
He said it plainly on a podcast heard by millions. And even after showing that level of accountability, even after taking that public loss, he's still tied up with her in court, still battling over finances, reportedly turning down a $10 million deal while pushing for half of everything, arguing he played a role in building her empire. So on one side, he's owning up to being a flawed partner. On the other, he's coming for assets, income, and paperwork. Somebody explain that logic. The truth is, Offset isn't over Cardi B, and if we're being real, he might never fully detach from her. The second Pooh Shiesty touched back down and started making his interest known publicly, all those emotions came rushing back. So when Pooh dropped that first "I love you" comment that racked up over 10,000 likes, Offset noticed, and his reaction wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet. But in hip-hop, quiet can speak volumes. Offset posted nothing but a row of laughing emojis. That's it. No captions, no names, no direct shots, but everybody caught the message behind it. Those emojis weren't about humor. They translated to, "I see what you're doing." Because a man who's truly unbothered doesn't respond at all, and a man who's really moved on isn't watching closely enough to track who's in her comments. But Offset saw it, Offset reacted, and the internet amplified it instantly. Now things start getting more serious because people begin asking a real question. Does Offset actually want smoke with Pooh Shiesty over this? Because these aren't just entertainers. These are two men with real-world reputations attached to their names, and both of them understand exactly what the other represents. Now listen, for anyone not fully tapped in, let me break down who Pooh Shiesty really is, because reducing him to just a rapper chasing Cardi is a mistake. Pooh Shiesty, born Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., comes out of Memphis, Tennessee, a city known for producing hardened individuals. His upbringing came from an environment where the streets and the music industry were practically intertwined. His rise happened fast, his style was aggressive, and his image was built on authenticity. Then everything shifted when the federal case hit. Back in 2020, Pooh was involved in a shooting incident at a hotel in Florida. A man was shot.
The rapper arrested. He's accused of shooting a security guard at a South Florida gentleman's club and will remain behind bars. A judge denied bond for 21-year-old Lontrell Williams, known as Pooh Shiesty. Police say he was performing at King of Diamonds in Miami over Memorial Day weekend when cash was knocked out of his pocket. When the crowd tried to grab it, police say he showed off his gun, and while he was being escorted out of the club, he fired a shot, hitting the guard in the ankle. He's been charged with aggravated.
And the case didn't stop at battery charges. It turned into a federal conspiracy case tied to firearms and drug trafficking. He pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 63 months. He served nearly 3 years before being released early. This is not a man who went in for something small. This is a man with federal firearms charges on his record. A man who has shown he will crash out in real situations, not just in music. And that's exactly why Offset's laughing emoji reaction felt so pointed, because Offset, for all his fame and industry status, is not built the same way Pooh Shiesty is built. The streets know the difference, and in hip-hop, that difference matters. Here's where we have to address what everyone is avoiding. This situation has moved far beyond jokes. You have Offset still legally tied to Cardi B, still emotionally invested, still fighting financially, watching a man like Pooh Shiesty publicly pursue his estranged wife with no hesitation. And Pooh doesn't stop. Even after Cardi is visibly pregnant with Stefon Diggs' child and posting her new relationship, Pooh is still in the comments. He drops another one under a Miami post celebrating Diggs' birthday. "No woman better than you, for real. I stamped that." This man saw a post about another man and still kept going. In a normal situation, that would just look like embarrassing persistence. But Pooh Shiesty is not normal. This is a man who does not believe in backing down. His entire image is built on fearlessness. He doesn't weigh consequences like a regular person. He sees something he wants, he goes for it, and dares anyone to object. And that's why Offset should think carefully about how he handles this, because reacting with emojis is one thing. Actually having an issue with Pooh Shiesty over a woman is something else entirely. At the end of the day, Offset's situation with Cardi is a real-time lesson playing out online. This is a man who had one of the most desired women in the world. She was loyal. She had his children. She tried to keep the marriage together multiple times, and he still chose to mess it up. And now he has to watch. He has to watch her move on. He has to watch her enter a new relationship with a high-profile athlete. He has to watch her drop music, win cases, and live her life. And on top of that, he has to watch Pooh Shiesty, fresh out of prison, publicly declare interest like Offset doesn't exist. That is a specific kind of pain, and no amount of emojis can hide it. The fact that Offset is still fighting the divorce, still reacting to Cardi-related moments, says everything. People say time heals everything, but not if you refuse to let go. And Offset, for all his image, has shown he hasn't let go of Cardi B. And then there's Pooh. Here's the real part. Pooh Shiesty is not doing this just to get at Offset. He appears genuinely interested in Cardi, and he moves in a way where other people's feelings don't factor in. That's not disrespect. That's just how he operates. That Memphis mindset is simple. See it, go for it, deal with it later. But what makes this unpredictable is this. Pooh has shown that when things escalate, he escalates. He doesn't step back. He doesn't slow down. He crashes out. And while Offset is emotional and clearly affected, he is not in a position to match that energy over a woman who has already moved on. So what does Offset do? He reacts with emojis. He keeps it in. He fights in court, because that's where he still has leverage. Cardi has moved on. Pooh is still shooting, and Offset is watching it unfold. What this shows is that in hip-hop, timing, loyalty, and self-awareness matter. Offset had chances with Cardi, multiple chances, and each time he made decisions that closed those doors. Now someone else is knocking, and there's nothing he can do. Pooh came home focused. He was bold, consistent, and didn't care who saw it. Cardi moved with grace. She didn't respond, didn't engage, just kept living. And Offset? Offset is the lesson here, because being emotional is human, but letting the world see you stuck on someone who has moved on, that's where it becomes a warning. The real question is, does Pooh Shiesty stop? And what happens if Cardi responds one day? Because knowing Pooh, one response could take things further instantly. And knowing Offset, that could trigger a public reaction in real time. What do you think about this situation? Is Offset justified in his feelings, or is Pooh wrong for pursuing someone who has moved on? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more breakdowns like this, check out the next video on your screen.